One of the most common problems in dogs is yeast infections. And I'll tell you, it's really, really important what you feed your dog if you want the yeast to go away. So today, I'm going to show you an easy to make recipe that you can make at home. So we're going to start with 1 pound of lean ground turkey. Next, we're going to add half a pound of chicken hearts. Then we're going to add 1 ounce of chopped beef liver. Then we're going to add 2 eggs without the shells, and ideally you're going to want those to be pastured. And then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of bone meal, or you can add something like a seaweed calcium meal. So this in itself is the basis of your meal and is going to give you a nice start. But now we want to add the yeast fighting ingredients. So first we have half a cup kale, and then we're also going to add half a cup of broccoli sprouts. Now, these cruciferous veggies contain isothiocyanates, and they inhibit the growth of yeast, and they'll also help with liver detox, which is important if you have yeast die-off, and finally they can bind to heavy metals, which love to feed yeast. Next, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar can break down yeast's biofilm, which is a protective coating, and break down the cell walls. Next, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of ground pumpkin seeds. Now, pumpkin seeds are antifungal, they're antiparasitic, and they're a natural source of vitamin E. Next, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of turmeric. Now, turmeric is another antifungal, and it can help stop the growth of yeast in your dog's gut. Next, we've got garlic, and you're going to want to add either 2 teaspoons or 2 cloves. And garlic is another antifungal, plus it repels harmful gut bacteria. And garlic also helps the liver with detox again, which is important when that yeast starts to die off. The liver needs to get rid of it. Next, we have 2 teaspoons ginger. And ginger is a great anti-inflammatory that targets the gut. And again, it helps the liver detoxify all of that dead yeast. Next, I'm going to put a couple of teaspoons in of MCT oil. Now, caprylic acid, which is in MCT, is a powerful antifungal that can also break down yeast cell membrane. And if you're looking for an MCT oil, make sure you get one that does not have lauric acid in it, because lauric acid can cause gut inflammation. Next is a teaspoon of chlorella, and chlorella is really important because it binds to heavy metals and helps remove them from the body. This is important because this will remove yeast's major food source, which is heavy metals. Next, we have half a teaspoon of kelp. Now, kelp is rich in iodine, as you know. What's important about that is that yeast can be linked to hypothyroidism, which is pretty common in dogs, and iodine can help balance the thyroid gland. Then we have half a teaspoon of Himalayan pink salt, and that's just going to help balance out the minerals in the diet. Now, if you've chopped everything up really well, you don't necessarily have to do this step, but now you can run it through a food processor. So now it's all mixed up, and there's one of 2 things that you can do with this. So the good thing about this recipe is that you can either feed it raw, or if you prefer a cooked diet, you can put it in the oven for your dog. If you're feeding it raw, there's nothing to do. All we're going to do is take this food, put it in a pan or a bowl, and just feed it right to your dog. Now, if you want to put it in the oven, just set the temperature at about 300 to 325 degrees and just put it in for 20, maybe 25 minutes. That's all you're going to want to do. So obviously this will make just over about 1 pound of food, but check the description below and we'll let you know how much to feed your dog based on his weight. Anyway you slice it, there's one more step. Whether you cook it or whether you feed it raw, the last step that you want to do right before you give it to your dog is add a fish oil or a marine oil like Safe C, which is Greenland mussel oil. That'll help balance out the omega-3 fatty acids. And that's it. There's your yeast recipe. Now, if you have any questions or concerns, comments, let us know in the description below. Leave a comment. We're always happy to help and learn.